Most people think financial stability is passive, but resilient systems are rarely passive. They are monitored, adjusted, optimized, and strategically operated through time. This is one of the most important shifts in the entire series, because once the household becomes a monitored operational system, it must eventually become an actively managed system, and this once again changes everything. At this stage, the household is no longer simply a collection of transactions or a set of static financial statements. It has become a dynamic operational control system, and every major subsystem now requires management. Liquidity must be positioned, leverage must be controlled, optionality must be preserved, risk must be monitored, and future flexibility must be intentionally protected, because unmanaged systems tend to drift toward fragility over time. Liquidity is not simply idle cash, it is operational maneuverability. Liquidity creates reaction time, flexibility, adaptability, and decision quality. Strong operators understand this, which means liquidity is actively managed, not accidentally accumulated. This includes reserve targets, runway monitoring, surplus preservation, and scenario planning, because the household must maintain enough flexibility to absorb uncertainty without destabilizing. Leverage is not inherently dangerous, but unmanaged leverage often becomes dangerous because leverage amplifies outcomes. And if amplification sensitivity becomes too high, small disruptions create disproportionately large consequences. This is why degree of lifestyle leverage, degree of financial leverage, and degree of combined leverage must be continuously monitored and strategically managed. Going forward, we'll abbreviate degree of lifestyle leverage as DLL, degree of financial leverage as DFL, and degree of combined leverage as DCL. Strong systems intentionally position leverage. Weak systems simply inherit it accidentally. One of the biggest advantages of operational systems is forecasting, because once the household becomes measurable, it becomes modelable. And once it becomes modelable, future outcomes become easier to influence proactively. Forecasting allows the household to simulate inflation pressure, income volatility, debt service changes, liquidity deterioration, and resilience trajectories before instability occurs. This dramatically improves decision quality, because strong operators do not wait for crisis before adjusting the system. Strong systems constantly preserve optionality, because optionality is future decision capacity. And future decision capacity is one of the most valuable forms of resilience available. This means protecting liquidity, reducing rigidity, controlling leverage, maintaining flexibility, and preserving strategic maneuverability. The goal is not perfection. The goal is maintaining enough adaptability to reposition the system when conditions change. At the highest level, this is what the household financial system ultimately becomes: mission control. Not in a dramatic sense, but in an operational sense. The household evolves into a monitored system, a forecasted system, a strategically positioned system, and an adaptive resilience system. And this is one of the biggest differences between fragile systems and resilient systems. Fragile systems react late, resilient systems operate proactively. The most important insight from this episode is this: resilience is not passive, it is managed. Strong systems monitor, forecast, position, adjust, and operate continuously through time. Because once the system becomes visible, it becomes controllable. And once it becomes controllable, future outcomes become easier to influence strategically. At this point in the series, the household financial system has evolved dramatically. We began with transactions, journal entries, accrual systems, financial statements, and structural financial architecture. And now we've arrived at an operational household control system. But it's important to recognize something. There are still many systems, metrics, and operational ratios that we have not yet fully developed. So far, the core operational metrics we've focused on most heavily are liquidity ratios, leverage ratios, solvency ratios, income, net income before financing, and net income. And within leverage specifically, degree of lifestyle leverage, degree of financing leverage, and degree of combined leverage have become central operational indicators throughout the system. These metrics form the foundation of the operating architecture. But the dashboard is still evolving, because over the coming seasons, we'll continue expanding the household operating system to include forecasting systems, behavioral systems, investment systems, stress testing, scenario analysis, capital allocation, risk systems, adaptive planning, financial independence metrics, and many other operational frameworks that strong financial systems require. The goal is not simply tracking money. The goal is building a complete operational system for navigating uncertainty through time. And in the next episode, we begin one of the most important transitions in the entire series, human behavior itself. Because ultimately, the numbers matter, but humans operate the system.